Hey everyone, and welcome to our full video review for the SLI 1080 water cooler, the specs of the machine. So we'll kick it off with the CPU, which is an i7-7820HK Kaby Lake processor. The GPU inside is two NVIDIA GeForce GTX 1080s with a total of 16 gigabytes of GDDR5X RAM, and they are overclocked. The memory inside is 64 gigabytes of overclocked DDR4 at 2800 megahertz. Storage included are three 512 NVMe PCIe M.2 SSDs in RAID 0 configuration. As for connectivity, there's built-in Gigabit Ethernet LAN, integrated 802.11a G and N wireless LAN, and Bluetooth 4.1. Powering the device is an 8-cell smart lithium-ion battery pack rated at 74 watt-hours. And there's a built-in HD web camera above the 18.4-inch UHD 4K IPS level 178-degree wide view 3840 by 2160 matte type screen with G-Sync. On the left-hand side of the device is the Kensington lock, power adapter port, Ethernet port, mini display port, HDMI port, one USB 3.1 Type-C port, one USB 3.1 Type-C Generation 2 port with Thunderbolt, one USB 3.0 port, and one headphone and microphone jack. And on the right-hand side, there's a 3-in-1 card reader, two USB 3.0 ports, and an antenna port for increased Wi-Fi signal. The antenna itself is also included with the laptop. And on the back are all of the connectors for the water cooling dock. Taking a look at the interior of this awesome laptop, as you can see down the front, we have our battery pack right in the middle. These two little empty spots are where a couple speakers are attached to the bottom panel of the laptop, so you don't see them right now. We have a couple of M.2s on both sides. There is a third one. It is on the back of this super awesome red motherboard PCB, which looks amazing, I might add. I miss red PCB. This used to be a cool thing back on ATI cards, and we don't see it as much anymore, but it is awesome to see on this laptop. Too bad you won't see it too often, but good to know that it's there. So you can get to the other one. There's also 2 sticks of RAM on this side. There's also 2 on the other side of it as well. If you need to get to those, it's a little bit more difficult, but you can do it. We have an M.2 up here with Bluetooth and wireless on it for your connectivity. Then if we take a look at all the crazy stuff going on with our heat sinks, we have both of our GPUs located here and here, and we have our CPU in the middle, and we have our inlet and outlet for our water cooling, which comes across and flows through here. I don't know the exact path, but as you can see, it will be flowing across and through. And then we also have our copper pipes that lead up to both of the corner fans with their their own cooling. So you have dual cooling in this machine, which is really great to see. That way you can take it off the dock and take it with you if you really want to, and not have to worry about needing the cooling from the dock. It'll cool itself as well, so you kind of get dual cooling. And that is the interior of this machine. The screen on the GX800 is very nice. The 18.4 inches of 4K look gorgeous in games, and with G-Sync, of course. The colors are very rich, and the black levels stay nice and dark, which is how you want it. The keyboard is a MechTAG mechanical keyboard with 2.2 millimeters of key travel for responsive keystrokes. It's very different from most keyboards, or at least any keyboards I've used on a laptop before. It also has 108 key rollover and dedicated ROG button with streaming options and settings for programmable keys up at the top. There's also programmable RGB lighting with a variety of modes and settings. The touchpad has good feel and has accurate movements throughout the face of it. The left and right buttons are separate from the touchpad, which is the way I like to see it. Top by itself is right around 12 pounds, and the included power cable for the laptop comes in at 3 pounds. So altogether, it's going to weigh about 15 pounds if you take this device with you on the go. When it comes down to battery life for this machine, if you are untethered from a wall, you can expect a little bit around 2 hours or right under 2 hours of battery use with the settings of brightness at 50% and the battery saver mode on. As for the temperatures of the laptop, we pulled out our thermal gun. There is just a little bit of heat in the middle, but realistically that heat's actually very mild and not very hot at all. And around the edges and sides, it's actually pretty close to room temperature. Very cool running machine when on the dock. Next, we pulled out our decibel meter to get readings of the noise that is created from the dock and the machine while it is running games. Our first reading was up away from it at 47. Our second reading was right up in front of the laptop, and we had readings of 54. And then finally, coming around to the back where their fans are going off and the cooler is working its magic, we had readings of 63. On to our benchmarks. We started things off with Firestrike, which scored 18,786, which scores it as 97% better than all devices that have ran this test. Next, we moved on to Cinebench. Our OpenGL score was 115, which I don't think is actually that accurate. OpenGL seems to have a lot of discrepancies sometimes. But the CV score for the processor was 869, which is very, very good. We then ran a test with Crystal Disk to see the read and write speeds of the RAID 0 SSDs. We had read speeds of 3,496 megabytes and write speeds of 2,650. That's incredibly fast and amazing, and I love that. Moving on to our real-world testing, we obviously did all of our tests at 4K with the 4K screen. We started things off with Grand Theft Auto 5 on very high with multiple MSAA settings. We had FPS numbers of 98, 77, and 65. The GPU's temperatures while testing were at 62, and the CPU's temperature was at 61. Next, we did Rise of the Tomb Raider with settings of medium, high, and very high. We had FPS numbers of 84, 79, and 72. The GPU's temperature was at 64, and the CPU's temperature was at 62. Our third test was with Dirt Rally on medium, high, and ultra with MSA ×4. We had FPS numbers of 149, 120, and 99. The GPU's temperature was at 61, and the CPU's temperature was at 68. And for our final test, we ran Hitman on medium, high, and ultra. We had FPS numbers of 58, 54, and 53. The GPU's temperature was around 63, and the CPU's was actually around 55. So overall, very cool numbers on both the GPUs and the CPU when gaming with the dock. Nice, cool numbers. If you're looking to put a personal touch on your machine, be sure to check out our extensive customization options before checkout, which includes upgrades available to RAM, storage, cooling, overclocking, custom paint, hydro and graphic wraps, laser etching, and much, much more. Be sure to check out our product link in the description or leave us any comments down below if you have questions for us here at